thank you that we can join together at this place and in this time. And we thank you, Lord God, that you continue to pour your blessings out upon our community. And I pray, Lord God, for your spirit to rest upon each one of the people here, our city leaders. And I ask, Father, that you will guide them, that you will be the one to help them make decisions. And more importantly, Lord God, I pray that each one of us here who live in this community, that we all are filled with your spirit, and that we all learn to love our neighbors as ourselves, and to give more than we receive, so that we can truly be a people who turn to you in the good times and the bad. I pray over all of the people gathered here today, Father God, and may this be a meeting that truly, truly is filled with love and compassion. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a full house tonight. It's beyond full. Welcome. Next to the approval of the agenda, we'll have a motion to approve the agenda. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Baldwin. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. Next, we have presentations. I'd like to look at a comment. I'm going to do two proclamations. I have the honor of traveling to Washington, D.C. this summer during National Police Week in honor of our fallen officer, Lieutenant Colonel who died on the 22nd last year, and others. Others that died in the line of duty, duty-related deaths with Lieutenant James, Officer Bruce Richard, Medic Norma Sutherland, Officer Andy Dominguez. Chief Siley, City Manager Pollock, Commissioner Martin, several of our officers, our police officers, and the probably here today, were there to get together and test Lieutenant's daughter and also his girlfriend. We attended the candlelight vigil, the memorial ceremony, and the vigil, the visible wall with the names of our fallen officers on there. In fact, we visited more than once. It was a sad time. It was also an exciting time. Many emotions were felt during both of the ceremonies. Not just sadness, but love, appreciation, and thanksgiving. Love for our officers and other fallen officers throughout our country. Appreciation for their sacrifice for us. Thanksgiving for them being brave enough to put their lives on the line for all of us. And now I would like Chief Gaines to come forward, please. I have the honor tonight to read your proclamations. And this is a proclamation from the City of Elmore Board of Executive Officers, a proclamation to memorialize the anniversary of the loss of Officer Clint Clavius and Officer Bruce Richard, and to further pay tribute to those Ontario County police officers who also gave their lives in the line of duty. Whereas the City of Elmore, New Mexico has suffered profound tragedies with losses of its police officers, and the most recent loss of its police officer, Clint Clavius. And whereas those fallen officers have served the citizens of Alamogordo as valuable public servants. And whereas law enforcement is an honorable profession that strives to make our communities more livable. And whereas the murder of a police officer shocks the very soul of our community, the government and the freedom that police officers have sworn to protect. And whereas the impact of this tragedy upon the police officer's family, friends, department, and community is immeasurable. Whereas a law enforcement officer is killed in the line of duty somewhere in the United States every 53 hours. And whereas there is no greater sacrifice a police officer can make for their community than to give their life for another. Now, therefore, I, Richard Ross, Mayor of the City of Alamogordo, and on behalf of the citizens of Alamogordo, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim September 2nd, 2017 as Fallen Police Officers Day. as we mourn the loss of Alamogordo's most valuable public service. We continue to pray for healing and hope in this time of need, and will continue to honor Officer Clint Corvinus and all those police officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice. The second proclamation, also from the City of Alamogordo Executive Offices, whereas the police officer who puts their life on the line with no superpowers, no X-ray vision, no super strength, no ability to fly, and above all, no invulnerability to bullets, reveals a far greater virtue than Superman, who is only a mere superhero. And whereas being a police officer is about making communities safe, caring for children, and doing what it takes to stop someone from hurting another person. And whereas the policeman is a peacetime soldier, always at war. And whereas a police officer must spend their day wearing a gun. The weight of this object is not only a physical stress upon the body, but an emotional one upon the mind and heart. And whereas a police officer is an ordinary person facing extraordinary circumstances and acting with courage, honor, and self-sacrifice. They are the men and women who are willing to step into the danger to enforce our laws and are willing to lay down their lives to protect others. And whereas the men and women of our local law enforcement agencies have taken an oath to protect and serve the citizens in their communities throughout Otero County, New Mexico, and whereas law enforcement officers take significant risks every day to perform their duties and responsibilities to ensure that the rule of law is maintained, for they protect, serve, and keep peace. And whereas the City of Alamogordo is the proud home to dedicated police officers who put their lives on the line to keep our citizens and their property safe. And whereas the police officers might have one of the most thankless jobs in the United States, we must find time to stop and thank these police officers who make the difference in our lives. And whereas we recognize the significant sacrifices made by law enforcement officers and their families and welcome the opportunity to show how much they are appreciated. Now therefore, I, Richard Ross, Mayor of the City of Alamogordo, do hereby proclaim September 16th, 2017 as Thank a Police Officer Day. And from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you, our police officers, for all you do and encourage all citizens of Alamogordo to demonstrate gratitude to the law enforcement men and women who protect, serve us, and keep us safe. Next, we'll move on to public comment. We have it looks like one person signed up for this public comment, and that person is Rocky Galassini.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you all very much. I'm going to put my glasses on as well, Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of the Commission, my name is Rocky Galassini. I'm Chairman of the Otero County Law Enforcement Appreciation Committee. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to thank you all for accepting our request for these proclamations and for allowing me the opportunity to come before you and publicly thank you and thank our police officers and let them know how much they are supported, appreciated, and loved, not only by this community, but by the entire nation. I will try to be brief and beat the clock. I know there's a timer, but as most of you know me, well, okay, I'm going to try, but I can promise. First of all, I would like to acknowledge and remember the 10 fallen officers from Otero County who lost their lives in the line of duty. Sheriff William L. Rutherford, Otero County Sheriff's Department, end of watch Tuesday, February 13, 1923. Patrolman William T. Spike, New Mexico State Police, end of watch Thursday, February 24, 1949. Officer Bruce A. Richard, Alamogordo Police Department, end of watch Sunday, September 2nd, 1984. Deputy Robert Hedman, Otero County Sheriff's Department, end of watch Saturday, December 18, 2004. Patrolman Christopher Mirabal, New Mexico State Police, end of watch Wednesday, June 13, 2007. Agent Julio Beret, United States Border Patrol, end of watch Monday, September 24, 2007. Lieutenant Michael C. Avalucea, New Mexico State Police, end of watch Friday, May 30th, 2008. Officer Andrew Dominguez, Alamogordo Police Department, end of watch January 4th, 2011. Robert Potter, New Mexico Transportation Police, end of watch Thursday, August 16th, 2012. Officer Clint Pervinas, Alamogordo Police Department, end of watch Friday, September 2nd, 2016. I think it's safe to say that in the last few weeks, months, and years, police officers have had a lot of bad days. Some have faced a lot of hatred, while others have received a lot of thanks for their service. And now they all watch each other's backs more closely. A few have even questioned putting on the uniform at the start of a shift. However, a friend and a local police officer once said to me, "You never question putting on that uniform. It's your job. It's what we do." I feel as though in the wake of these recent tragedies, police officers have not received the gratitude and the thanks that they deserve. I grew up surrounded by police officers, and then I was welcomed into the Blue Blood family. I have seen the impact this job has on them, and I see what it puts their families through. So to all police officers, we say thank you. Thank you for putting your community that you serve above your family. It is officers like the one I quoted above that will do anything to protect their community. They give up holidays, birthdays, and family gatherings. They give up school events and sports games. When duty calls, they drop everything and they respond. They give up so much of their family life to serve and protect people that they do not know. A very special thank you to their families for allowing them to do their job. Thank you for risking your life for mine. Every time you put that uniform on, you put my safety above yours. They will do anything to make sure that no one gets hurt. Every time they leave their home, yet for another shift, there is no guarantee that they will return. But they still answer every call and do what it takes to rescue a child in danger or end a potentially deadly hostage situation. More importantly, thank you for doing a job most of us could not do. It takes a strong, brave, and courageous person to deal with the things they do on a daily basis. They have to make split-second decisions in life or death situations without a guarantee that that decision is the right one. A police officer is able to handle that pressure to make the best decision in that moment. Not many people knowingly put their lives in danger like these men and women do. These men and women are our soldiers. They are our peacemakers. Knowing the police officers that serve my county, I know that they give up a lot and they do a lot for their community, and they deserve to be thanked. There are so many police officers out there that are doing their jobs the best that they can. They all deserve to hear a thank you because now, more than ever, their job and their work is extremely unappreciated. Some people wonder all their life if they made a difference. Police officers don't have to wonder. They do that every day. September 16th is National Police Officer Day. We intend to honor our police officers on this day as we hope citizens around the community will do every day. We invite you and the community to join us in Alameda Park from 12 to 6 p.m. It's a great day for food, fun, and fellowship with each of the 15 law enforcement agencies that we have in Otero County. This is a great opportunity to say thank you. So to every police officer out there, thank you for what you do. Thank you for making that choice to protect and serve. Thank you for doing what so many of us are not brave enough to do. Thank you all, from the bottom of our hearts, for serving and protecting and for keeping us all safe. To all police officers, from our homes to yours, thank you, and may God bless you all. Thank you very much. Can't reach that far. Sorry.
almost, sorry, Doctor.
You don't have to run.
Okay, I tripped and fall and break my, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Did anyone else think they signed up for this section of public comment? Next, we'll move on to city manager and manager's office.
Mayor, Commissioners, for those of you that were not at the meeting last night, the city staff had a very productive workshop with the commission to review several options for the management portion of the Family Fun Center. Staff reviewed 4 options for management, including to negotiate a management contract with downtown Ventureport, accept the proposal from Alamogordo Management Group, do nothing and let the building sit until a plan can be developed, and finally, the option of the city running the facility. The commission was given extensive packets of information detailing their research and staff is completed. And tonight, the discussion continues, and the commission may choose to vote to direct staff to choose a specific option. With regards to Snake Tank Well 5, the startup and testing of the various components of Snake Tank Well 5 project began on August 14th on time. This will be an ongoing process through the end of the month. Unfortunately, a substantial completion inspection was scheduled for August 17th, but the contractor had not progressed far enough along for the city to take acceptance. So this has been rescheduled for the next 10 days. The Bonita Lake bid opening date has been postponed from August 24th to September 7th at 2 p.m. in the commission chambers. And that was based on questions that we received during the Q&A period and other required engineering changes. Golf course pond, number 11, unfortunately, we have had to hold off on construction yet again. It's been raining quite significantly, and so we do not have a remobilization date at this point, but as soon as we get one, we will let you know. And finally, last week on August 18th, the mayor and I met representatives from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and including District Commander Lieutenant Colonel James Booth. The result of that meeting, we were discussing the McKinley Channel Phase 8 portion of that project. And unfortunately, the cost estimate at 95% design is projected to be over budget by $10 million. That's $7 million in federal funds and $3 million in non-federal funding. The Army Corps of Engineers indicated that the funding may be discontinued for this project. So the plan moving forward is to have options presented to the commission from the representatives of the Army Corps of Engineers at a commission meeting in September. And city staff and commissioners are encouraged to contact their local representatives to gain support for more funding so the project can be completed. What this means if the project is not completed is that there's a significant area of our community that is surrounding the ditch that will not be protected against a 100-year flood event. So you will hear more about this at future commission meetings. A letter has already been drafted by staff to go to our representatives. The commission will see that, and that letter would need to be approved before the mayor signs it. But all hands on deck for this and more to come for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any commissioners
I have no questions, but I have a comment. Yes. I know that all of you know that we, the commission and the mayor, show up for meetings twice a month, but in addition to the meetings that we have the honor of attending, we go to a lot of different meetings around the state for a multitude of purposes. I'm so glad the mayor's cooperating. Last week, Mayor Boss and I and some other staff members of the city had the pleasure of attending the 60th annual New Mexico Municipal League meeting in Clovis, New Mexico. My first time in Clovis, I was very impressed. They're a town similarly sized to Alamogordo with a lot of the same things we have, with the exception of the mountains. So I feel like we've lucked out a little bit. But in addition to me and the mayor being there, Chief Silent was there. We also saw Katie from Human Resources and Julianne, who really made a nice showing there. She won the women's 3K Besides these little where we're all learning things, and they try to make it fun and interesting. Over 300 people from around the state attend these. The New Mexico Municipal League gets together, and our mayor, who's the voting member, reviewed 33 resolutions that are positive things for municipalities. He had to sit in meetings virtually all day and then vote on them. Although we go away and it's fun and we get to do different things, it's a lot of work also. There were 33 of those proposals. We stayed till the end so that the mayor could do the voting. It was educational, informative, the 60 of which is pretty impressive. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank the city staff and thank the rest of the commission for allowing us the opportunity to do this. It was really, I've gone in the past, but this one was very special because it was the 60th and because I also got to be a voting member. Now that the hats were part of one of the fun events that they did on a Wednesday night, they had well, I figured, you know, if they're going to be giving us clothing, the least we could do is show you what we're bringing back. So, in honor of the New Mexico Municipal League, I just want to thank the mayor again, thank the city staff who went. We all got something out of it, and just know that the taxpayer dollars that go into these meetings is not wasted because we come back with a lot of information. And
Check it out.
thank you, Mayor.
This was my second meeting, and I think it's better than one.
Oh,
I think it's because of this. But we do learn a lot and take away a lot from this meeting. I appreciate you going through this year, one much more. The complex is further. Any other remarks and comments? We'll move on to the consent agenda.
Exactly how can we top hats? I don't know how we could top
I
hats.
was just about to say the same thing, how can you stop that? You can
Sorry.
try it on.
That's right.
Well, we need to have that as you want.
Still next year.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. With any staff or commission activity item on the consent agenda. If not, I would need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Yeah, I move we approve items number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Second.
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez to approve the consent agenda, items 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I have a second by Commissioner Baldwin. Please call the roll.
Jason Baldwin.
Aye.
Nadia Sykes.
Aye.
Jenny Turnbull. Aye. Alan Hernandez.
Aye.
Erica Martin. Aye. Susan King. Aye. Mr. Foss.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. We'll now move on to old business. Number 8, consider act upon amending the Kids Kingdom rebuild proposal. And Lonnie Ortega, our Community Services Director, will give us information on that.
Good evening, hi, Mayor, Mr. Commissioners, City Manager. Could you please put the hats back on? We have a presentation a little easier to do, please.
You can have that hat.
Maybe I should wear it. So I apologize for getting this sheet very late to you. You just got some spreadsheets right before the meeting, correct? You're looking at the spreadsheets that are on the screen. Okay, so the first sheet that you're looking at is the original option 2 playground that you approved at the June 27, 2017 City Commission meeting. In revisiting the worksheet, I found an error of $224,077. My apologies. This means that the zoo parking lot and the new dog park have actually been removed from the original award, on the very original one that was approved. The figures have been corrected and are reflected on options A through C on the second page. So between the last city commission meeting and this meeting, bids were open for the Alamogordo Family Rec Center locker room project, which was funded by a DFA capital outlay grant in the amount of $242,550. The bid came in at 31% over the architect estimate of $174,256. The low bid was $331,900, leaving a shortage of $133,678. The project team requests an additional 25% of the funds needed to cover unforeseen conditions. So you'll see this $167,000 added into your options 2A and 2C for the rec center locker renovations or shortage. So you're looking at your second sheet. Option 2A includes the $167,000. It is also keeping the playground equipment at $225,000. So I just want you to remember that when Kids Kingdom burned down, there were also picnic tables, benches, trash cans, trees, pergola picnic tables that were also destroyed along with the playground equipment. So when you add the $225,000 for the park, the $247,000 for the site improvements, as well as a 10% contingency, it's a total of the $519,200 for the replacement park, which will still be a very nice park. So if you'll look at the option 2A, please note the items that were reduced or eliminated. If you have any questions on 2A, so you'll notice that security cameras were eliminated. The ARC amenities were reduced. The parks amenities were reduced. The picnic pavilions were reduced. The zoo parking lot is eliminated, and the new dog park is eliminated. And we've added the AFRC locker room shortage. So it leaves a balance of the $17,223 a small contingency. So on option 2E, it includes a playground at the $448,484. However, it does not include the locker room shortage. And so please note the projects will be the projects again that will be reduced and eliminated. And they're almost the same amount, just a little more. And staff is not recommending this option. Option 2C includes the $484,000 playground and the AFRC locker room shortage, and the additional reduction of parks amenities and playground shade structures. As the director of the Community Services Department, as well as the Community Services staff, we recommend that you select option 2A because of the fact that the natatorium bond was originally dedicated to the rec center building. Staff is recommending the shortfall come to the natatorium bond funding to ensure that these funds go back into the Board of Family Rec Center. However, this means by selecting this option that the playground will go back to the $519,200 with community services projects reduced or eliminated. We are still requesting that any funds left on any of the projects be used towards replacing items that were reduced or eliminated. Got questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
The security cameras, can you refresh my memory, those were for the Family Rec Center?
They were throughout the parks. State Park, Washington Park, City Alameda Park.
Oh, okay.
They were throughout. There were 6 cameras.
Any other questions?
I have a couple.
Mr. Baldwin?
Thank you for preparing this based on our request. Last time we talked about it, you guys did a great job putting everything together. And I feel I muddied the waters when I came back to the commission and asked that the entire insurance amount be spent on playground equipment. I just had one question because my numbers were not adding up either, and it could be the 167 that you found. That could be it too. But a part of our proposal, when it was originally given to us on the 25th in June, was that all of option 2, with all the extra things added to it, would also leave a fund balance of, the natatorium fund balance of $192,000. So when I sat down and I thought, if we spent all the insurance money on things to swing on, climb on, jump on, which is what I was hoping for, that the $275,000 on pavilions, picnic tables, benches, seated wall security systems, and trash cans could partially be taken up by that 192, which would only leave a balance $250,000. So I don't really know what to say. I lean more toward option 2C because that gives more playground equipment. I understand there was infrastructure, but my original comments on this was if we took this insurance money that was there for a park that we didn't have to build, understanding there are infrastructure things that we needed to put in place for this, and we didn't replace it with $448,000 of things for kids to climb on, swing on, and actual playground equipment, then I felt we would, the Parks and Rec Committee, that they might not disagree with that. The citizens would come back to us and basically say, how could you only spend $225,000 on playground equipment? But, again, I feel like I've muddied the waters and made you work 3 times as hard putting all this stuff together. So, and that was
recommended pay,
Yes, sir.
which does not include the full amount of $448,000 being spent on playground equipment. So, just a little, get everybody back up to speed of why I brought it up. I don't know, we have a public here. I don't know if you guys have heard anything. Maybe I was just being a little too over concerned with it.
Well, I guess my question would be, the 247 for site improvements or all the other things you mentioned, that the benches and that, or is that, would that be
It's
spread
for
out?
playground shade structures, it's for the seated railing that's gonna go throughout the park. Seated-
All on that location where kids can go?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And I'm actually comfortable with that, because we did lose some of that. So that would have been part of the insurance money, is that right?
Yes,
Right, when we
yes,
lost
yes,
it.
for the entire park.
The total value of the Kids Kingdom was, Veronica, do you remember that number? 700 and
750,000, I think it was something like that, and the insurance recovery was the 484.
correct. So my mindset there was if the total value of the Kids Kingdom was 778, then and we're putting 448 back in, that's a pretty decent amount for playground equipment, and then we're supplying an additional 275 for the everything else needed. But to split the 448 into
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah, okay.
Is that a lot of
Okay.
playground equipment?
It is low.
So, would it look like a playground or is it too much? Because that's my concern is I agree with you, but I'd rather have a playground that's completely usable than something that's just
a hodgepodge of swings.
Yeah, and when you have too much stuff, I mean, I'm not.
It could actually turn out that way. There's smarter people in the city working to make sure that
Because it's
not
my
designed.
concern is that they have to spread it out more and then there'd be more to take care of as far as that's concerned. But we have original proposal where it's, in one area where it's easier to take care of, easier to manage.
Will it handle approximately the same number of kids, people that did those,
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, it will.
With option A.
With option 8, yes, with any of the options, yes, it will. And if you're asking about different amenities, I mean, we could add, like we discussed before, we could add interactive toys for all ages. It's kind of like the Simon Says type of games that are there. We could add some chess or checkerboard tables that go underneath the trees, even if they're concrete, that you could sit on benches and play. And so there's different things that we could add.
So then the last question would be, now that I've said my piece, is originally on the option 2, there was $192,000 left over in the ideas from the city were other projects to be considered down the road. Desert foothills, more handicap accessible toys in the playground, and more amenities to the playground. So, where's that 192, or did the numbers change?
That's what's over. It's 224,000 over. We were short by that amount. So from the original one, we would have had to cut the parking lot, the zoo parking lot, and the new dog park in order to be able to approve the items.
Ronnie, since we're cutting the zoo parking lot in that option, we're still doing the perimeter fence at the zoo.
Yes.
We approved that one.
Yes.
Are we going to wall off that area and wait till later to pave it? Is that the plan, or?
Yes, the plan is to pay that. If there is quality of life funding left on other projects, that is one of my priorities to look at getting done is the zoo parking lot, because we know it needs it.
So we're not going to alter the security perimeter from the plans that we approved, or the money we approved a couple weeks ago?
No, that is just for the fence.
The other thing, and I really believe that we need to somehow come up with the funding for the security cameras.
I was gonna mention that, yeah.
28,000 seems like a lot of money for security cameras. But to protect our property and the property of the taxpayers, I think that the security cameras are important. But I was thinking that maybe we could turn that into a really positive thing. Our city has no camps, like firecrackers, blacktop camps, and blue dozen camps. Maybe we can use economic development funds and put in camps where we can be looking at the playground, and maybe put one up high, like near Plateau Express or the museum, and maybe put one on 10th Street to look at Main Street. Not only would they be attracting tourism possibly, but they would also be used for security. Just an idea.
Well, aside from that, I would really like to see this. I'm really disappointed.
Well, what you see in front of you is a menu.
Right, right.
So if you.
I'm looking at it, trying to figure out what we could do. Because you're right, it's only $28,000. I say only, I know, it's a lot of money, but I think we would get so much more benefit out of it.
And Ronnie, can you clarify, those security cameras, those were for the outdoor parks only, not for the buildings? I just want that.
No, I understand that.
I just want.
In the parks. So one option that you could do is eliminate one of the playground shade structures that would be equivalent close to 28, but that would kind of be the trade-off, or reducing parks amenities, rec center amenities, and we really did. Staff went through and tried to cut back just as much as we could. And there's a contingency built in, so maybe there would be enough to keep into cover that.
How much is it per camera? You said there were 6, so 3,000. Is it possible to just get one at the skate park? I feel like that place out of all of them needs a camera. It's fall. It's been spray painted, it's been graffiti, we had to paint it. If I could pick one park that needed a camera, it's that one.
These cameras are for, these cameras are for the rec center buildings itself.
These aren't the ones that you walk up to them, they say something, take pictures, that's fine.
Right.
I'm
So
sorry.
to clarify, are these the cameras that you would walk up to them and it takes a picture of you and it says, hey, back off?
Yes, they're in the park and they'll scream at you, stop, this is a restricted area, your photo's been taken, and we can upload it to the Department of Public Safety. Erica, oh, I apologize, it's 28,000 for 4 camera systems and laptops, so that includes the cost of the laptops and the cameras, so I have to get back to you on the actual cost of. Because it's one laptop to run all of the cameras.
And then all at the same time versus just one.
Yeah, we wouldn't have
Or just a few.
Other questions?
If the commission would like the security cameras, then my suggestion would be to take out the shade structures, unfortunately, because they are quite expensive per shade structure. So like Ronnie said, you may be able to get away with reducing one shade structure where these would fit all of our parks, and then move forward with the cameras. Also, like Ronnie said, we did build in a 25% contingency to the locker room renovation, because that building is so old, we don't know what's gonna be behind those walls when we start, tearing things up. So, you know, there's certainly like some money left over. A normal contingency for the city is around 10%, and we wanted to make sure that we had enough for the rest. Just some suggestions.
So, let me give you an example, the small Griggs, the playground shade structure that we were gonna cover, the small Griggs toy that's there, that one was $18,242.50. So we did this with the contingency that's left on 8, and then we could get security camera.
Any other questions? Comments? Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
We also have a person signed up to speak. All signs.
Mayor Boss, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, City Manager, Attorney, and public. Paul Sanchez, resident of Alamogordo. One objection to the discussion we've got going here, and that is in the agenda book for this meeting, there was one listing of numbers and adding and subtracting that was available online, that's available right now online. And it didn't involve any of the spreadsheet that was just presented to the commission. So as a result, the public has no ability to look at, comment, and suggest to their commissioners any of the menu items that's being discussed. It was just one option. So I'm a little concerned about the fact that the public didn't have the opportunity to review that. Now, with that said, the option that was there and everything that's been discussed here, it is absolutely obvious to me that the staff has done an unbelievably good job in parsing out and giving as many options to you guys as Commissioner Baldwin said off the menu. They've really trimmed this back and forth, and even the single list that was on the website was extensive and very well put. I looked for things to criticize and only found one, and it was actually what's been discussed here, and that's the security cameras. I can't emphasize enough in these surveys that I did how many people would like to see security cameras for nighttime with low-res, low-light imaging, particularly in consideration of vandalism that's taking place at the skate park, what happened to Kids Kingdom, etc. When it comes to playground equipment, on the one hand, I will tell you from, again, the results of the survey that I did, and I'm sure surveys you've done, that there is no possible way to make everyone happy. You can put 1,000 picnic tables out there and there won't be enough. You can put one picnic table out there and there will be too many. Shade structures, same thing. However, what I would absolutely support is Commissioner Baldwin's general concept of more playground equipment for the children to play on, the better, with particular emphasis, as I said at the last meeting, on special needs equipment. One or two items for our special needs kids is not going to make the general public happy. They were very emphatic in wanting things for autistic kids, blind kids, etc. And there's extensive amounts of those things available that can be budgeted in within what we have available here. Last thing on that list, last thing that I want to mention, and there is no way that it can be afforded from the listings that I've seen, but I would like to know, I would put to the city manager, maybe talk to staff. At the zoo, the only bathroom that's available for anybody is when you immediately come in the gate. So once you get in the gate, if you're halfway down there, say by where the emus and the llamas are and the education center, if your 3-year-old granddaughter needs to go to the bathroom, you're chasing all the way back to the front gate with no other option available. I wanted to look at a bathroom perhaps being built at the education center for that, but there's no possible way with the money that we're talking about for that to be done. So my question would be, is there a possible way to put some kind of porta potties there on a regular basis if that's possible? Thank you, Mayor Boss. I appreciate your time very much.
Thank you, Paul. We'll move on to new business. Item 9, consider an act upon change order number 2, public works bid number. Yes, ma'am.
Point of order.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, if the commission wants to table this again, if to allow the public to look at these spreadsheets and come back and maybe even redo the numbers, looking at the security cameras, that's another available option as well, if the commission would want to do that. So can you clarify, you would like something different than what was, you would like a document that's different than what was provided to you? Or is this document sufficient?
I believe this document is sufficient. I was just talking about looking to move around. I'm comfortable moving forward, giving staff, they can find the $28,000 in city manager's comment in reference to the playground shades, the spine, these are all projects that were brought to us. They're all great projects, but none of them, we didn't really have these in front of us until a month ago. It's not like we're cutting something that was 100% expected. So playground shades, there's other places. Ryan has a problem in the background. I'm sure she can find $28,000. My concern would be, as Mr. Sanchez stated, that the public hasn't had a chance to see this. This is different than what was presented in the worksheet that the public's been seeing for the last 3 days. If it's delayed, it just gives me a chance to push my idea about the new stadium.
I'm fine with tabling it. I'm giving
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we table old business item number 8, consider an act upon amending the kids' community rebuild proposal until our next meeting.
I have a motion from Mr. Baldwin to table old business item 8. Do I have a second? Second from Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Item 8 is tabled. Now we'll move on to consider an act upon change order number 2, public works bid number 2017-001, to Smithville Construction Inc. related to 1 million gallon a day reactor water treatment facility project, and an amount not to exceed $148,042.06, including tax, contents, engineer, and added on project. Wow.
Bob Johnson, engineering manager.
So the engineer, you're the engineer, project manager. You're the engineer.
Last time I checked. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez, City Manager Paul. Change order number 2 for the desal plant is in 3 parts. Total amount with tax $148,032.06. 3 portions of it consist of deletion of 3 pumps from the project scope that were integrated with the project design. And during the snow review process at the beginning of the project, it was discovered these items were still in there and they didn't need to be, which resulted in a net decrease of $6,017.02. I'll skip item 2 for a second because it ties into item 3. The estimated quantity of bid item 4 of buried solid waste was 16,000 tons in the original bid documents. During excavation, removal, and disposal of the the buried solid waste, the contractor encountered a rather large pocket of it in the northwest corner of what will be the evaporation pond. The engineer was immediately notified. They evaluated it, determined that we would be exceeding our 16,000
funding agency oversight, Intermediate Construction Program Bureau. We have it within our contract documents to exceed estimated quantities, one way or the other, by up to 25%. The funding agency oversight approved us to proceed versus shutting the project down because this is such an active project for this aspect. I've gone back and looked at various soil reports and cores that were done by Jericho about 2 years ago. And there were roughly 13 different bores done in and around what is now the evaporation pond area. And the area that this pocket of buried solid waste was found was literally in between about 5 of these bores. The existing bore results around this pocket indicate very little, if any, buried solid waste. Most of the solid waste within this area through the bore process, the testing process, were located further south. The 18,500 new estimated total includes what has been excavated to date and includes approximately 400 tons what might be estimated to be found when the contractor installs the raw water line and the finished water line that will parallel Lavelle Road. This is kind of a fail-safe quantity. If we don't exceed that quantity, we'll eventually reduce it down to actual. Skipping backwards to item 3, item 2 within the change order, the 24-inch layer of 4 to 8-inch rock underneath the evaporation pond from the access road, which is a net increase of slightly over 43,000. As the contractor was excavating the additional solid waste in the northern corner, it was seemingly bottomless. They had excavated so deep and they could not find a bottom to this buried solid waste. We believe it's because it was on the fringe of the old landfill. It was just off of it. So the engineer got with city staff, got with the funding agency, and we came up with a consensus that to just stop removing this because it's so deep that we'll never disturb it. So the engineering fix was to install roughly 2 feet thick layer of compacted 4 to 8-inch rock in 12-inch lifts at 95% density, and on top of that, approximately 10 feet of compacted earth, also compacted to 95% density, so that there's no chance whatsoever of anything shifting or coming up. That's essentially the gist of this change order.
It's within budget and keeps us on timeline, correct?
Yes.
Motion to approve item 9.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Baldwin to approve item number 9, consider act upon change order number 2, public works 2017-2.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Clark. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Move on to item 10, consider an act upon for the approval to purchase a new Class A apparatus pump to replace an existing apparatus that has surpassed its life service. With the approval, final staff will move forward with the purchase utilizing the approved budgeted money and resources of CER equipment replacement for a total of $20,000 in Fund 33. The CER equipment replacement for a total of $47,695 and Fund 2 is
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, City Manager. I put together a real short presentation, so we'll start. This evening, I'd like to give you a short presentation and respectfully ask for the approval to purchase a new Class A pumper apparatus to replace an existing apparatus that has surpassed its life service. At the end of this presentation, you should have a clear understanding why this truck is needed. Understand the standards set forth in the NFPA standard 1901. where the fire department is currently in regards to equipment replacement, what has been budgeted for equipment replacement this budget cycle, and understand the core goals set forth by the Alamogordo Fire Department. As the Alamogordo Fire Department moves forward, one of our largest obstacles is dealing with an aging fleet that has surpassed its life expectancy and continues to nickel and dime the City of Alamogordo General Fund and the Fire Fund. According to the standards outlined in FPA 1901, NXT First Line and Reserve Fire Apparatus states, in the area of safety, fire departments should seriously consider the value or risk to the firefighters in keeping fire apparatus older than 15 years in frontline service. Below, you'll see several apparatus in our fleet inventory that are well past the replacement, that replacement criteria. I listed several. The one that we're actually looking to replace is actually 23 years old. So where is the Alamogordo Fire Department currently, and what have we accomplished today? The City of Alamogordo has made huge strides regarding capital equipment replacement, and this is a testament of the dedication of the city taking equipment replacement seriously. All equipment replacement purchases have been made possible through capital replacement funds through the city, grant funding, and state fire protection funds. As of today, we have purchased and paid for in full the following apparatus. The first one is a 2016 Pure Savory. It's a 75-foot aerial that was purchased, and this was due to requirements set forth in the NFPA 1901 standard. Basically states that if you have a ladder service, that you have to have your reserve ladder in your inventory. We also have ordered a 2017 Pierce CF. This purchase was actually approved by you guys and will be delivered May 2018. As stated before, one of our largest obstacles is dealing with our aging fleet, and the aging fleet that has actually surpassed its life expectancy as a first-line engine. The arrival of this new pumper will supplement our fire fleet and serve on the north side of Alamogordo. This new pumper will replace a 1996 Pierce two-door that is currently a first new engine 21 years old. In closing, as the City of Alamogordo moves forward, I'm respectfully requesting to purchase additional Class A pumper. This approved funding will come from actually two sources. The General Fund, Fund 11, for a total of $400,000, and for the Fire Protection Fund, Fund 33, for a total of $127,695. This new truck will serve the community on the south side of Alamogordo and replace a 94 Pierce pumper that is currently 23 years old. With this new addition to the fleet, the Alamogordo Fire Department will accomplish 4 goals. We'll have 3 new engines providing protection to all parts of our community. We'll continue to replace an aging fleet that needs to serve its life as first new engines. We'll have some relief associated with repair costs due to the aging fleet. They continue to break and need serious repairs. And the nice thing about it is all these purchases will actually be owned. We're not financing them. The Alamogordo Fire Department will meet the needs of staff, and that these new engines are specifically built for our department, and they'll have no seating for our volunteer staff. Yes, sir. The 94, it's actually a 4-door Pierce, and of all the trucks that we would like to keep in our inventory, that would probably be one of them. And what would be nice about that truck is that it is a 4-door, we can send it off and have it refurbished. But it would be a good reserve. Let's take questions. Is that correct? That
$100,000 that was budgeted. Yes, sir. I move that we approve, item number 10.
Motion to approve item 10. Class A economic development. There's a second.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Turnbull. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. 7-0.
Thank you.
Item 11, consider act upon an agreement for assignment of airport lease from Gregory Hahn to Alex Clemens Jr. for area 8 fees.
Good evening, Mayor, Member 10, and Commissioners. This is pretty routine here. This is an assignment of a lease from currently Mr. Gregory Hawk to a Mr. Alex Clemens Jr. out of the airport. This was passed by the Airport Advisory Board on their meeting in July of 2017. They recommend approval. Similarly, we're recommending approval. Essentially, this is just someone transferring a hangar to someone else. So this is all the necessary documents in place and have been executed. We just need commission approval to move forward. And I believe Mr. Clemens is here. Yes.
So this is basically just a transfer of lease.
Yes.
I move that we approve. Second.
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez to approve item 11, consider act upon the assignment of airport lease. I have a second from Commissioner Turnbull. All those in favor, I'm sorry. I didn't. Commissioner Baldwin. Commissioner Turnbull, give me a 2 times. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0.
For those of you new here tonight, that happens every night, so.
Item 12, consider an act upon the airport improvement after the Big Basin Airport
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez, and City Manager. What we're trying to do is get some money that the FAA has offered up, end of fiscal year money. What we're looking at doing is putting a shoulder around the remaining length of the runway. We put the shoulder on the 2,200-foot extension as an experiment to see how well it would work. It has worked extremely well as far as erosion control, weed control, and maintaining the 3-inch clearance as required by FAR 139 from the top of the runway to the surface right next to it. And this is, it really looks good too for anything else that's there. But we asked the FAA for this money, probably a year and a half ago, and we've been discussing it from that point. And just last week, which is why this is the last, they came up and said, okay, ask for the grant and we might give it to you. I have to have all this into the FAA by the 15th of September. Again, we're running up against the end of the federal fiscal year. And the cost to the city, as you see, is $26,961, providing that's the total cost of the operation of the state. 90% FAA, 5% state, 5% city grant. And we're going to, the current plan is to use the mill that's sitting there by Taylor Ranch Road. That's only 5 miles from the airport. So that'll minimize the distance we have to haul the product. Then it has to go through another hopper to grind it up to keep it consistent in size. And then lay it down. Engineering company will do the design and all that. And this will probably take 2 years from the time we say go, we get the grant, until it's completed. So the cost of the city will be spread out over a considerable amount of time, just because of the amount of time it's going to take to go through all the wickets that the FAA requires. But the benefits to the city is it does meet the 139 specifications for some shoulder of the runway. And normally those requirements for 139 are not eligible for a grant. But we did a little discussion and described it a little bit differently. And the FAA has come up and said they would give us a grant for that. We're using some other concepts to make this happen. So what we're asking for tonight is approval. I have drafted a resolution, which, like I say, due to our time limit, that I got to get all this in probably by the end of this week to get it get it rolling. I have some draft resolutions that I can give to the city manager for getting this moving. And then we have the paperwork that just needs to be signed. And once this is signed, again, we can get this whole thing moving.
It's kind of a no-brainer that you don't have $1 million for $27,000.
That's basically, it's a little more than $500 million, but that's basically, we're trying to get FAA to pay for it.
When you put it down, did it go to, or did you just put the material price down?
That has been the concept. If we put diesel oil on it, we'll have asphalt, but then there's some other problems with putting diesel oil on it, so we have not done that. We could, but I think the EPA might get a little upset with this if we start spraying diesel oil all over. But that's why it's staying like it is. But it has done a wonderful job this far. With all the rain we've had, we haven't lost anything. It's been really working well on our extension. It also serves as another, if airplanes go off the runway, you'll see on major airports, they have things that sink in, and that's part of what this will do. It wasn't an intentional thing, but that's what it does. If an airplane goes off the runway, it'll cause the wheels to sink in and give it additional braking from the distance. So that could possibly save some damage too. So far, we haven't tried that out. We've come close. We haven't actually done it.
You're a good salesman, Jim. Safety aspect.
Any questions?
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez to approve item 12, consider act upon airport and FAA grant. On a second.
I'll second.
I have a second by Mr. Sykes. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item 13, consider act upon the award of public works bid number 2017-014 to Jen LLC related to the street maintenance program for fiscal year 2016. Phase 2 is the amount not to exceed $342,436.58 for the
Mayor Ross, Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez, Commissioners. The project before you is the street maintenance program fiscal year 2016 phase 2. The work on this project will be Harvard, Baylor, and Turing Avenue from 25th Street north into the loops. So it's only about 4 blocks area total on this project. The project will include replacing water lines, all the water services, and installing some new fire hydrants in the area. If this project is approved, what will happen is the area from Cornell to Pecan, 23rd to 25th Street, or north of 25th Street, will all have all new construction, which means the sewer has already been replaced on the previous project. All of the utilities will have been replaced. This project is approved. And all the pavement will have gone through the cycle of our street maintenance program, so all the pavement will be in like similar like year's condition. What staff is asking that the commission approve this project.
On the engineering estimate, that's like
Correct. I mean, we've been getting good numbers on our utility projects, on our water utility. But it's hard because we only got one bid on this one to carry it.
I see there's only one bidder. Is there any reason why you've seen that? Nobody's interested in this anymore, or you know?
I have no idea.
So you had nobody else even put this with or anything? You had no.
This project, I would say, I don't know if it's too small a project to consider an out-of-town contractor to do it or just the group that's here, General Economics, Utility, and Masonburg, are just too competitive now.
Well, because they're here, they're local.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. I know that we approved item number 15, work dates to General Economics.
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez to approve item 13, that's to approve the fiscal statement of 2017 as
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda. Consider an action upon the funds to operate
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. If you recall, we discussed this at length yesterday evening, and today we have some additional information for you. If you recall, there were 4 options in no particular order. The first one was to do nothing. The bonds came back regardless. The second one was to offer to go with the proposal from Alaporto Management Group. The third one was to accept a proposal from Downtown Venture Corp, or finally, the city to run the Family Fun Center. A couple of things came up yesterday evening. Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez, you had asked if we had reached out to Optech and invited Ms. Pearson. I did reach out to him today. He's here in the meeting. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming. And he is in agreement with using the money for this purpose, as long as we have enough money in Fund 105 to fund the other economic development projects that we have currently underway, which we do. So that question has been answered. I'd like to call up Darren Williams. He spoke today with Mr. James Shun, and we have some additional information there, and then I'll turn it over to Attorney Trent.
Mayor, Pro Tem, Commissioners, City Manager, thank you. So at last night's discussion, some of the questions came up about Downtown Venture Corp's information and some follow-ups. And so in reaching out to him today, talking a little more in depth, one of the things that was of concern was business plan. He is only standing by for a letter of intent and would have a in detail business plan within 30 days from the letter of intent received. The question was, how long would it take for him to open if he was awarded the process as we go forward? And it would be roughly 60 days after the building is completed to include any change order requirements. So if it was to be completed on Christmas Eve as it's proposed, roughly 60 days after that, so right around end of February or early March would be the date that you would forecast open. Following on, that was the lion's share of the follow-on questions with Downtown Venture Corp.
Couple of things that I need to clarify for the commission, if that's okay. From last night, the presentation, I was incorrect in something I said. I informed the commission that the wiring for the telephone system was not in place. That was incorrect, and I don't want to let that misinformation sit out. So it is wired. We don't currently have any phones. It is hardwired into the building. Connecting the phone wiring is a little bit different. So we do have the wiring in place to put a phone system in. We just don't have the actual system, which I believe the slide said that we didn't have the wiring. The next thing I wanted to talk to you all about, I know there was a lot of discussion last night about the LEADA funds, and to make sure that we're 100% solid on that. I did speak with Mark Roper today, who is our regional LEADA representative, as well as the team leader actually for the state. We had a very productive conversation. He's on board with us using LEADA funds. We do need to make an ordinance change. We need to bring our local ordinance, which is here if anyone wants to see it, from the mid-90s and up to compliance with the state statute. So the state statute has changed. We just need to get ours in line with the state statute. As soon as that's done, we will be good to go, and Mr. Roper's on board with that. Additionally, my office took some steps today. I know that several of the commissioners wanted to make sure that we were on solid legal ground, so I am attempting to hire an outside counsel to render a written legal opinion to the commission regarding LEADA to protect this commission, all of us, to make sure that we are on solid ground and we use that. In addition, we have members of my office who are now 100% devoted to researching this issue and making sure we are on solid ground. So before we move forward and put this project participation in agreement, we will make sure that we are on the most solid ground we can be.
It seems like Randy,
Mr. Van Glen.
I can't pronounce it. over. He is the municipal attorney, and I think he has been for quite some time.
Yes, sir.
I've watched him, seems like a pretty quiet man. His opinion is,
Yes, sir. He actually, as we stated last night, was the attorney on one of the first LEADER projects, which again was a service area. It was an ice skating rink, so sort of like what we're doing here. It was involving services and not goods. So he believes that we are on absolute solid ground, and I've called him, I have more calls into him to see if I can get him to put that attorney in writing for the commission. If not, we'll seek an outside attorney to put that in writing for us.
what about Juan Torres, the director of finance development programs? He also had the opinion that we were okay, right?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I had a conversation with him, City Manager Pop was in the room for that as well. He absolutely was on board, said that that would be the best way for us to go.
So this evening, I just want to clarify, right now, staff is working diligently on all 4 options. We're spending all of our time on 4 different options. So what we're looking for this evening is not to say we're entering into a participation agreement with Downtown Venture Court, if that's the direction that you want to go. That's not what we're looking for. We're just looking for a narrowed focus of which option you want staff to concentrate on. And possibly a letter of intent to Downtown Venture Court saying that we're moving down the path of negotiations with them. Nothing is written in stone. We're not agreeing again to a participation agreement. We are doing our due diligence to make sure that this is 100% above board like anything else. We just want more of a narrowed focus.
That's kind of the direction I took last night. But in that, and having a couple hours to look at it today, I actually came up with a few more questions, and I talked to the attorney about that today. The leader, she's looking over all the documentation for that. I'd like to have written opinions versus phone opinion, because at any time, in a phone opinion, they can say, well, that's not really what you asked me, or something to that effect. So I want to make sure that the written question and the written answers come back to us so that we're covered. I think it's a simple thing. It's worth spending a little bit of money on it to keep us straight. I've also heard some other opinions that I think are okay with it. I just want to make sure. But another concern that came up was the $500,000, the interest, the loan. We're not a bank, and I have a lot of concerns with that. And again, I just want to make sure that everything is clear, that we're not setting a precedent on this, that another company is not going to come in here and say, well, you guys did it for these people, that's for us. Something in that sense, or something else. We won't get into that, but again, loaning money never really been our business, so I don't really want to get into that. I'd like to, if we do that, I'd like some clarification. What's the interest rates? What's the payback? How is it all structured? All that stuff. Because basically, I'm the bank manager today, and so I don't want to sign a note to somebody saying, "Here's $500,000." Good luck.
I also want to clarify, any contract with Downtown Venture Court would come before the commission before it was signed. So, this is just us negotiating with them, and you are the final say and final approval. So, conversations can happen, with staff on ways to develop that.
And again, I know that things happen in short notices like this tonight, but I don't want to see that contract 5 minutes before we come into a meeting. I'd like to see it, at least a day or so, if not longer, so that we can actually take it in and make sure that everything's on the up and up. And I mean, because I have sources that I have to go to and ask and make sure, are you okay with this? Because I mean, this is a small community, but there's a lot of business people here that may have problems with some of this, and I want to make sure that it's all clear with everybody.
Understood.
Any other comments? Any questions?
I would just suggest that we proceed with item number 4, or position number 4, and most of, not all of the questions that were asked would be answered. I don't have a problem with it. So
motion, we had a letter of intent, but we.
I think, are you looking for a motion or are you just looking for?
We would like to send a letter of intent saying that, you know, we're beginning negotiations with them, and so if we were going to put something in writing like that, I would prefer to have a motion for it. But I think that the motion needs to be open-ended, that it is not, you know, we're just beginning the negotiations, and this is, any contract that's gonna go with this company is going to come before the commission before it's ratified.
Last night I got the impression that we were going to tonight make a motion to actually work with Mr. Chen. So will this suffice?
Yes.
Before we do that, we have got a few meetings lined up.
But this will suffice, he will be happy to use a letter of intent.
Yes.
And he'll allow us the time to do all the negotiations and not back us into.
Yes, he is looking, his proposal is, does not come off the table, as long as we have that letter of intent saying that this is the, you know, the path that we're going down. He fully understands that negotiations are not, they're just negotiations, exactly what they are, not written in stone, he doesn't have a contract. Yes, we already have, and we will.
Any other questions from the panel? Thank you very much. We have a couple people signed up, first being Josh Berry. Comment on this.
Mayor, Commissioners, Josh Berry. Sat in y'all's presentation last night, right at 3 minutes. Sat in your presentation last night and listened to some of the questions, and I just caution you guys, you know, the four of you that are sitting here drug your feet on this project for about 2.5 years before it really got started rolling. And now we're at a deal, and getting an operator in place is very important. It should have been done before right as they broke ground. That way the contractor would have had some direction of how they wanted this to go. But just listening to some of the comments and some of the stuff, I mean, it's like the guy that's wanting to enter into contract with you is giving you an ultimatum of, hey, guys, I want to invest in the community, I want to be here, but you got to let me know by the 31st of August, otherwise I'm going to pull out. That just doesn't sound right. It just sounds a little fishy. You know, I just think you guys, you know, you said you advertised in the Alton World paper and in the Albuquerque Journal, whenever you're advertised for your RFP and RFQ for operations. I think you've done it twice, if not 3 times. You know, you should have gotten it out there nationwide. I'm sure there's more than 2 or 3 companies in the United States that run this type of establishment. And, you know, you had, I think the first time you had 3 bidders, second time you had 2, and then the last time it was 1. So just caution you guys, don't jump off into there. I mean, it sounds like you're gonna just do a letter of intent, but this thing's already had enough problems and been plagued with problems. We don't need any more down the road. We don't need to get it running in a year down the road. Hey, I can't make any money at it. They pull out. And then as far as the leader funds go, it didn't sound like your operator was putting his money into this. You know, you said you're gonna pull $1.5 million from leader, and you're gonna pull $506,000 in interest off the bond, and that was gonna be the initial investment. So you're loaning the guy $506,000 as his initial investment, but it's taxpayer money. It's so he has no dog in the fight. He has nothing to lose. Taxpayer. And the last time that the city funded an operation similar to this, you know, a leader deal, and gave the money beforehand, was that cookie factory out there for the first go around, and I think to this day the city still owed $1.7 million on that. So just be cautious. Just, we don't want this to fail. We want this to be positive for around the world. The people obviously want it because they voted for it. So just be cautious. Just almost sounds too good to be true. Your little downtown venture corp. I don't know a whole lot about it. It just sounds too good to be true. Thank you. Also signed up for item 6 to discuss, and you guys skipped. I signed up to discuss on item 6, and you guys skipped forward. Thank you.
we get close. Next is get vote. So if we had a motion to direct staff to proceed with negotiations with Jerry County, downtown District Court, and issue allow you to get a letter of intent, and also make note that anything will go before the commission as far as any approval of new contracts.
Exactly. Hey, I just make a comment real quick. I feel like I should say this, I'm just gonna say it. I was listening to what Mr. Burton said. And if we really think back on this, we've actually been working with this company for a long time, or this company has been interested. Certainly since I've been elected, even before that. So I don't think that this is something that is too good to be true. I have to put myself in this management company's position. Why should they trust us? We drug them along, we put it aside, we picked it out, we put it back, we drug them along again. And so I think it kind of works both ways. I can understand, why they want those in place, because why should they trust us? We've been dragging our feet on this for quite a while, and this company, I'm actually rather impressed that they're coming back to us for what I believe is the third time to even try to work with us. And so I'm sorry, but I have to say that because I don't feel like this is something that's too good to be true. I think this is somebody that probably doesn't trust that we're going to follow through with what we said we were going to do, and for good reason. And they probably just want some reassurances. And that's my feelings on that.
So I would entertain a motion. We can say direct staff to proceed with negotiations with James County Downtown District Court, and issue a letter of intent. And we need to take note of that any contract will be included by this commission.
The caveat is any contracts will be included by this commission. She said she can hear it, it's recorded. She'll get it on the minutes.
Very good. Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez on item 14 to direct staff to proceed with negotiations with James County Downtown District Court. I have a second.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Payne.
Yay, I'm very excited.
What's that? Raise your hand up too.
No, it's go ahead, I'm sorry. I did. Sorry.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-2. We'll now move on to item 15, consider motion upon first order of business order 1542 and ordinance adding new sections to chapter 3, establish a moratorium on new off-premise billboard advertising within city limits. City planner.
Mayor, thank you. Mayor Williams, City Planner, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, City Manager, yes, here I'm standing before you with our first draft of a billboard moratorium. I'll go into it a little bit more in depth, but just to make sure that it's understood, we've pushed this rather quickly. And so it's in response to requests by yourselves and some citizen input as well. So essentially what we're proposing is an off-premise billboard moratorium, meaning advertisement that is off-premise of the business itself. So for example, I know that Desert Sun, Toyota has a very large billboard on their property. They advertise their own business. That's not what we're talking about. So any other business that has a billboard size sign on their property advertising their business, that is not what we're talking about. So this is off-premise billboard, commercial advertising for something other than where that billboard is physically placed. And we're proposing that it goes into immediate effect so that any new negotiations or signs that are not yet put up are effective. Any leases that are signed prior to the effective date would fall into the grandfather clause, which is 5 years, and can be extended with a petition annually through the commission for cause up to a maximum of 10 years from the date signed. So that way we're not negatively impacting any more than necessary signs that are already up or signs that are about to go up based on signed leases. The square footage is proposed at 300 feet or greater, and any sign that's 15 feet or greater in height. And that will pretty much cover just about every billboard sign I think that is in question. That's basically the proposal. I stand for questions.
Based on what we put together here, we won't necessarily see any changes in how our billboards look in Alamogordo right now.
That's right.
Do we have plans in the future to maybe make some changes? And I'll tell you why. Over the course of the past couple of weeks, I've received nothing when it comes to phone calls and text messages and emails, nothing but positive input about an ordinance, a resolution, whatever we want to do, to get rid of some of the existing billboards. There seem to be an awful lot of them, and I guess my conscience has raised over the past couple of weeks as I drive around. It seems like we have an inordinate amount of huge billboards. Also added to the messages to me were messages about electronic signs. And it seems like I'm seeing more and more of those. Now, initially they were entertaining, but they're very distracting. When you drive around and you start looking at all the billboards, it's extremely distracting. And there are a couple companies, and I know I'm not the only one who has noticed this, that have these billboards up that are just advertising for their billboards. And they're like puppies. I mean, they're just everywhere now. So I'm hoping that this is a beginning, but understand we're not going to see any changes. Maybe in 5 years, after they're grandfathered out, we might. But initially, nothing will look different. Correct?
That's correct.
So we have the, I guess we have the beginning, and down the road we could be making changes. Hopefully that will come from the grassroots White Sands Beautification Committee. So, just so we're clear, nothing's going to change immediately.
We can't get rid of the double decker billboards.
Apparently not. Thank you.
Is that a question, ma'am?
You already know the answer.
Okay.
But if I could,
We do have some public comment.
Thank you.
Matt Yoder?
Good evening, I'm Matt Yoder. I'm the real estate manager for Lamar Outdoor Advertising in the state of New Mexico. Mayor Boss, Mayor Pro Tem Fernandez, Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to stand for you. I became aware of this ordinance some time ago, and Lamar was a little dismayed at not at the moratorium going forward. We understand that, communities in the state sometimes feel that a saturation point is reached with regard to billboards, and so they don't want any future billboards to be erected. We understand that. The problem is, when you're talking about grandfathering out existing billboards, Lamar, I believe, became a part of this community and servicing local businesses in 2001. And since that time, we haven't had any complaints, and believe me, I get all the complaints about billboards in the state of New Mexico, but I haven't heard any from Alamogordo about, our boards being unsightly or distracting or anything of that nature. Part of the problem is, all of our billboards are on federally funded highways in the area, and that includes within the city limits. So when you're talking about removing billboards, and basically just making them illegal and telling someone to take them down, it's not quite so cut and dry. There's both federal and state statutes that provide for just compensation to the owners of those billboards, and they're not just structures, they're businesses that produce revenue. So when you talk about, oh, I want to take down this sign, you're also going to have to deal with paying for the revenue that's lost to that sign owner. There's also the revenue that's lost to the property owner. Our signs, they help benefit local business. We wouldn't be in business here otherwise. If no one wanted our signs in the community, we wouldn't be here because it wouldn't be profitable for our company to do that. So we feel like we serve the community here in Allen Ward. We haven't erected any new structures recently whatsoever. And in fact, I believe when the economy crashed back in 2008, that several were taken down. So we haven't seen any kind of a flood of new structures, from Lamar. And I certainly haven't gotten any negative feedback from the public about our structures. I would just like you folks to really carefully examine the statutes that exist at both the federal and state level about what's going to be required from the city financially to get rid of signs that you may not want, in the community any longer. I just caution you and I encourage you to do your research on that because it is a convoluted situation. It's not quite as cut and dry as it seems on the surface where, oh, there's a sign we don't want, let's get rid of it. There's a lot of details that have to be covered for something like that to occur. And, Lamar never likes to see moratoriums go into place. We try to exercise restraint in all communities. We try not to go overboard and create situations where people are upset with our company because we put up too many doors or we put up something that needs objection. So we definitely want to voice our opposition to the idea that existing billboards can be taken down. We have structures in the city limits and have had for many years. Whenever they're destroyed by natural elements or whatever, we're glad to remove those or repair them, do whatever it takes to keep the community looking good with regard to what we have in the community. So Lamar would just ask that you carefully consider before going ahead with any kind of language that grandfathers out existing words. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hi. At this point in time, I'm gonna ask to table this ordinance when we come back to it. I have some concerns with this as well. At some point, I would be comfortable if we wanted to look at this and took out the not exceeding a maximum of 10 years part, so that we do not tell them that they can only do this for 10 years, but so they have to come back for permission. That is one option. Unfortunately, I was under the impression this research had been completed and done and delivered to my office, and apparently has not been at this point. So I apologize that we don't have that research tonight for you all. So I think that we should table this to make sure that we are in the clear with this. I can certainly run a legal opinion to the city and make sure that we're in compliance with all state, local, and federal laws.
And that was actually going to be one of my questions. I actually did a little bit of research on the state right law. I do agree with the ordinance, and I do agree with, back when the benches first came out, and there was a bunch of them that were broken, dilapidated. I questioned that back in the 90s. And so I do support this 100%, but I want to make sure again that we're covered. And the state right away was really concerning, so I actually looked into that, and there is some concern there that we may have to watch out for most of these because of how White Sands Boulevard is built.
Before we table this, let's see, we have other people out there to attend. Tom Palmer.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, City Manager, public at large. My name is Tom Palmer. I am the real estate manager for Lidmark Outdoor Media, and I'm guessing my company is the one who created the ruckus. You were talking about the state and other statutes. I actually brought copies of all that. I'll go ahead and pass them out. I included in the package I passed out was the federal statutes, the state statutes, and a Supreme Court determination on taking down billboards for the amortization that they were talking about. So what you were saying is correct, and what my colleague Matt Hewitt was talking about as far as compensation for taking down is correct. As far as Landmark Outdoor Media, we are in support of a billboard ordinance. Having too many billboards makes the whole industry look bad, and we are not in favor of that. As far as the big stacked billboards and other billboards, I think if you'll notice, all of our big stacked billboards are currently occupied by businesses in your community. I'm sure you guys do business with. So as far as that goes, I think there's a need there. Probably the next big question for me is, are we going to put up more billboards? And that is maybe, I'm not sure yet. Depends on market demand. But anyway, as far as taking things down, I think there's a big problem with probably on-premise signage. If you take a look at a lot of the on-premise signs, they're bigger than ours. We did see demand for the ones that we put up. And in reality, our last billboards prior to Landmark was with New Outdoor Advertising. 2005 was the last one that we put up. We lost a back-to-back billboard over by the where the Starbucks was supposed to go. I guess it's not going there now. So anyway, that one was actually a replacement. So we've only actually added one structure to the city since 2005. I think that's about all I have to say. Any questions for me?
I'm sure you're a very nice man, but I'm sorry, I still don't like your stack before.
Well, yeah, I get that. Not everybody likes billboards, but if we provide a service to the community, and our advertisers and your business people in town seem to like it. So, I mean, it'd be like, logically, if somebody came in here and they were a vegan, they may come in and say, hey, we don't like, having places that sell beef on your main street. Where does it logically end? So,
thank you, Mr. Palmer. I believe also slides up is Dr. Murphy.
Commissioner Dr. I'm glad to hear that y'all are taking this. This ordinance, sorry, kind of same thing. It seems like it's not business friendly. A lot of the things that you guys have passed here lately or have been talking about are raising fees on businesses or prohibiting businesses. And it seems like it's just a vicious cycle here lately. I was talking to a gentleman that has one of these signs on his property. He receives a lease payment from that company. It's his private property. I really don't see how the city can tell him what he can and can't do with his property. And I drove by to look at it, to go get a phone number off of it so I could call those gentlemen and let them know that this was going on tonight. And when you're driving down White Sands Boulevard, you can't even see his billboard due to the fact of all the other signs that aren't going to be governed by this ordinance that are blocking. So, back when I was on the commission, Commissioner Rentschler at the time brought forward a sign ordinance, and it was a very, very heated ordinance, and it was very cumbersome and very difficult to try to enforce. So, you guys need to take a look at it, but we've addressed it. Al was there, Nadia was there, Jason was there. We've looked at it before. I just don't see how the city can govern what private property owners can do with their property. If I wanted to put one up out of on some of my property, and you guys told me no, I'd probably put it in. Anyway, thank you.
I would, if there's no further discussion, I would make a motion to table this item. I have a motion from Mr. Trumbull, table item 15. Do I have a second? And second, Mr. Martin, all those in favor, roll call. You call roll on the table. No? All those in favor, aye? Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. This table. Next, item 16, appointments to boards and committees. We have people that apply for committee. Building applicants, City of Volunteer Program Advisory Council. Susan Thompson, which will be the first term. Susan Thompson to the City of Volunteer Program. Susan, very nice. You were still appointed to that. Next, we have the vice administration board. This is great. We have 4 vacancies. We only have 1 now, so we have 3 options. We have Martha Trujillo, appointed, this will be her first term. David Gonzalez, appointed, this will be his first term. And Camden Wow, appointed, this will be his first term. No objections, I'm going to appoint all 3 of those to that board. They are so appointed. Are any of those individuals in there? If there's no further business.
Can I just make a comment? On the 20th of August, there's going to be the first white sand beautification committee meeting. And I encourage people to go, it's the 28th. Here are the changes, correct, Aaron, at 6 p.m. to 6:30. 6 o'clock. David Gonzalez is going to chair the committee. We now have 3 members on the committee, but the public is welcome to come and probably join the committee or at least give your input. So I'll make sure that everybody's aware of that. We'll continue advertising that until the 28th.
Any other comments? If not, if there's no further business, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn. A motion to adjourn, to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Mr. Trumbull, all those in favor, aye? Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.